no problem. Somebody would ask me, what the hell are you doing here? And I would tell you what, just because of my wife. Many years ago, I visited Cleveland, and my wife, it was my wife at the time, went to the Edgewater Park, and with the view of the Cleveland skyline, and she goes, "Isn't it looking like a Warsaw?" I'm from Warsaw originally. And I said, well, maybe, but they said, well, doesn't mean you wanted me to move here. I don't think so. And eventually I end up in Cleveland, what was it, 10 years ago, I guess, yeah. And just to keep it everything in perspective, I live in 3 countries. I have a house here in Lakewood, I have a house in Switzerland, and I have a house in Warsaw. So I'm kind of traveling between those places, and I try to enjoy it as much as possible. Although I end up in Cleveland and at Foundry in 2000, I believe, 16, and only because my son, who enrolled in the St. Edward's High School, started rowing, and he called me. I was in Switzerland. He said, "They need a coach here." And I said, "Well, everything for you, my son." So I came and started coaching, and since then I've just basically got stuck here for good. But going back to the original idea about Olympics, yes, it happened that I started rowing a long time ago, almost 54 years ago. 1970 was my first time I touched the oar. And basically dedicated myself for a lifetime. I loved at the time, and I love till nowadays. Rowing is basically my only sport which I admire, and probably if you know my family, our family is involved in the rowing. 1970 took 10 years, as always, to become the good athlete. I ended up in the Olympics in Moscow. Unfortunately, not everybody came because of these political issues, which basically everybody knows. And then 1984, the same crap happened, because it was, of course, you did it to us, we did it to you. So instead of going to Los Angeles, we went for vacation. And at that moment, I decided that this is not a place I want to be, that somebody gonna dictate what I'm gonna be doing. And long story, I ended up in the United States in 1985, pretty much. As far as Olympic goes, I was pretty successful, to be honest. I rowed in two boats. My favorite was, you probably don't know too much about rowing, but there's certain categories like single, double, 4, 8. I was in a double, and then also I rowed in a 4, which my double was my favorite boat, but in a 4 I got a bronze medal. So that was my success in Olympics. After that, since '84 didn't happen, and when '88 or so, I was in the US. In order to race in Olympics, you got to be citizen of the country. I only was here 3 years, and I didn't make it. Although I was involved with American team, I rode with the guy who was silver medalist at in Los Angeles, and then in '88 he was also bronze medalist in '8. So I was just there, but I didn't have that much luck. So at that moment, I just dedicated myself to coaching and teaching, and my whole career evolves around basically 3 teams. The US, which was I was always for a long time assistant to the Olympic coaches. For a while, for almost 5 years I was assistant in Switzerland to the Olympic coaches. And nowadays actually I'm in a process being hired by the Polish national team as a head coach. So within few weeks I will know whether I got the job or not. I don't know. I can talk about myself because I'm pretty, I like myself a lot. So I like to share all my experiences, but I don't think I can do that in such a short period of time. Once again, one thing for anybody who actually for younger people, if you want to do something right and you wanna be successful, you have to dedicate yourself 100%. Everything like halfway, it's never gonna work, and it's gonna be wasting time. So if you like something and you love it, you enjoy it, just put yourself 100% and don't look behind. Hopefully your families will support you all the way, because the families are probably the most important people who can give you motivation and the help. That's what I had, and that's what I do with my kids. My youngest son followed my steps, and happened that he actually rose for Polish national team, although he's 100% American. I mean 100%, 50-50. My wife is American and Polish, so it's 50-50. But he decided to row for Polish national team, and actually 2 years ago he was a European champion. So that's kind of follows, and now he's trying for Olympic team. Have two choices: go for US or for Poland. But right now he's trying for Polish Olympic team. So that's a short story. Not too much about me. A little bit more about all the things which happen in the process. Although my story is much longer and more spicy, I would say. Any questions?
In your opinion, how close is the experience and the workout and the training of machines in a place like this as opposed to being in the water?
Be honest with you, for my first 10 years, I didn't touch any machines because there weren't any. So everything was without water. Although the weights and as you know, winters at that time were much harder. So we definitely had 3 or 4 months of not touching ore. We're using the rowing tanks like that one, and a lot of weights, a lot of running, a lot of skiing, and it's definitely right now having these machines and having this kind of support is helpful for I would say for a first stage of learning. It's much easier, but this is nothing compared to row on the water. I mean, literally, it's just a substitution. Not even how I would put it this way. If you go, do you bike?
Yeah.
Okay, so go on the stationary bike, watch the TV, or you go on a trail. It's totally different experience, and that's pretty much that's all I can say. In both situations, you get exercise. It's no doubt. Probably you're gonna spend less time doing that because you don't have to take your bike out and go. But all the surrounding around you, the birds chirping, somebody is yelling at you that you're crossing in the wrong place, or you sweat, you smell, and blah blah blah. It's not the same. So, I mean, I tell you, I like telling these stories. But when I was I would say 16 years old, I was at this rowing camp somewhere in Poland. It was hot, and I went for a long row, like 20 or 25 kilometers. And at the time, the idea about having the water bottles with you and drinking the water didn't exist. Literally, nobody was talking about hydration, anything like that. You just go, you row, you come back, and then eventually you had some kind of faucet with the water will be sticking your head underneath and just drink like a horse. But I remember I was so tired. Oh, you cut me off already? I was so tired, I was so thirsty, and I'm rowing somewhere in the middle of this lake, and I see this little tent standing there, and I said, there must be people there. So I pull over to the bank, and they're saying, hey guys, do you have any water? And I remember like today, this lady came out and said, are you thirsty? I said, yeah, I'm thirsty. And she gave me this, how you call this, compote.
Yeah.
Okay, compote. She gave me this beautiful, the cold compote z wiśni. I love wiśnie.
Sour cherry.
Sour cherry, exactly. My favorite. And I think she gave me like almost a liter. And I shot all of it. I remember it nowadays. And she's like looking at me, you must be really thirsty. So one of this kind of funny story when another one, and I'm going to be finished. Right now the Vistula River is pretty shallow, so there is no way you can actually row down the river, but at the time when I was rowing, there was a little island of sand, like really beautiful yellow sand in the middle of the river. And I remember I always loved to stop by this kind of island. I know it's kind of funny, it's a strange story what I'm saying, but it's like, trying to tell you that the rowing itself is not just you getting tired and you exercise. There's always something happening. Like you said, what is different? Yeah. This is the difference. I would pull to one of these kind of sandy islands and lie down on the sand. And how you're doing the eagles in the snow? Yeah. I would do the eagle in the sand. And it was such a beautiful feeling because it was like this swoosh. You could hear the sand because very fine sand. That's my story. Anyway, yeah.
Why rowing?
Was that?
Why rowing? That's not a
that's funny.
It's not a very popular sport.
No, it's not popular. Not at all. That's great because you're special. Automatically become special person. I used to play basketball. My physical education teacher in a primary school, this you gotta play basketball, and I like playing basketball. But I didn't have this kind of this feeling for it, So I played. I was good, but it wasn't good enough. When my friend, I was very good soccer player. I was very good soccer player. So that's so good that actually I made the national team, the under 14, under 12. I'm sorry. I was basically coached by the best soccer coaches at the time. Under 12. That's not the national team. That's basically like this big range of kids who have some kind of talent. But happened that I was at the time I was already pretty big kid, so they put me on a defense, and on a defense in a soccer you have to play pretty rough. And one day we played against kids who were like 4 years older than us. So it's like totally different. And then I got tripped and I broke my both wrists. So I basically popped out like this, and then it was the end of my soccer career because it took me a little while to recover. And then after this, I didn't know what to do because I want to really exercise and do something. And I read in the paper, they're looking for a big guy, tall, who eager to exercise, and it's one of these clubs by the river, and come over there and check it out. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea about rowing at all. Rowing for me is like for many of you is like, what is the rowing? What is the first sign people asking you? What are you doing? I'm a rower, and they say, what are they doing? You're doing this, right? Yeah, that's what usually happens. Yeah, that's what it is. So I had no idea. I was one of those who, would say. And I remember I went to this club, and there was a rowing tank, right? And there was basically, you guys saw it, no? Not yet. That's basically a piece of concrete on both sides is a water and kind of imitation of rowing. And I was and then along this rowing tank there was kayaks, 4 people kayaks hanging, because there was also kayakers were in this club. And I was asking coach, how are we gonna get this big oars, because the long oars, in these kayaks? How are we gonna do that? And he just looked at me and said, you will see. And I just couldn't comprehend how that, because I'd never seen the rowing boat before. Never. So it's like, in my young mind, was like, everything was like, it didn't make sense. And then, one day, winter end, it was I remember like today, April 1st, 1970. Coach said, okay, tomorrow we're gonna go on the water, but everybody got to have the swimming pass, so you have to get the test. And I didn't have it. So I arranged everything. I went after school straight to the swimming pool, passed the test, and it was like almost like 4 o'clock. The practice is supposed to be at 4 o'clock. And I'm running out of the swimming pool. I got there probably 30 minutes late, and I saw these guys going on the water, and I was like, oh, that's what it is. Coach, what I'm gonna be doing? What I'm gonna do? I mean, I'm running, I have this test. I wanna go on this thing. And he looked at me, started laughing at me, just like, this is my first time out there. I ran up this river to this little canal, I pick you up, and you're gonna get in this boat. Gosh, I got there. He switched me in a boat. I was in heaven. At that moment, I was sold. So, that I'm saying, you wanna do something, you gotta be sold on it. There's no other way to do it. If you don't have a feeling for it, forget it. Forget it altogether. Always living by my philosophy is this: the first thing I see and it tricks, just do it. Don't look around and just try to find something better. It's not gonna happen. You're gonna waste your time. Just take it. It's like when I go shopping, I don't waste my time. I say, I like it, I buy it, and I'm done. I don't have to go, because I know I'm gonna make a big circle. I'm gonna make big circle around the shop, fight for some stuff which I don't like, and I'm gonna have it loaded with everything in my arms and say, no, this is not. This was good, but I come back, it's gone. So, learn your lesson. Anyway, yeah.
So you got Cleveland, Warsaw, what town in Switzerland?
Basel. Basel, yes. On a tri-state.
Did you make your money in rowing?
Did I make money in rowing? No, I have a very rich wife.
What was your day job?
My day job? I'm just a speaker. They hired me for speaking around. No, I don't work anymore. I mean,
what did you do during your career?
I was coaching. Okay, actually, sorry. At the beginning, I was a teacher of biology and the physical education in the primary school, because that's what my primary education was. And then I was also a journalist. I was working for a sport paper. Pretty good until I decided that I'm gonna leave the country. So that stopped. But I'm still writing for Polish papers, like on a, how you say, the occasionally, no big deal, but I like to do that. So my wife always telling me, why don't you write a book about yourself? I said, my name is not known, so I have to write something. But yeah, that's what. But mainly coaching. I was working in Cincinnati for 5 years as a head coach and director of Olympic Center. Then I got recruited by the Stanford University, which I was also head coach for 10 years. And then I got the job at the Santa Clara University. And then also I was director of the program of the big club, Los Gatos Rowing Club, almost 10 years. So that was my thing. And when I moved to Switzerland because my wife got a job, so I coach at the Basel Ruder Club for 5 years, and additionally I was skating with the national team. So this is kind of thing going on. And when I came back here and tried to do some here in a foundry, successfully and not successfully, because it's not a little bit. I'm not talk about that. It's a good experience. It's a great place, and I think that probably it's a great place for the kids. To start doing something and be introduced to rowing. I think this is perfect. Little less for people who actually want to be, but that's not the point. Foundry decided to be more community oriented, and I think it's a beautiful thing.
What's your favorite river to row on?
Favorite river?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. The water is water. But I tell you one thing, I still gonna probably stick with Vistula, because when I was start rowing, I could drink water from it. I would not dare to drink water here. My mother-in-law, she said, when I start swimming in a Lake Erie, I developed this style, Erie crawl. I mean, really freestyle. Basically, was the one hand you clear the water from the junk, and when other you're moving forward. That was a joke, of course, but I never tried it. But I could see sometimes here on the Cuyahoga, when especially after the rain and the water is high, a lot of refrigerators going down and all this stuff. That's normal for any river, but Vistula, because it's when you go on the river. I mean, you have the same thing here. When you go on the river, you go up the river, you turn around, you see the beautiful skyline of the Cleveland. It's really amazing, and you are actually surrounded by the forest almost, because there is a place up the river when we call this Narnia. On both sides, you don't see any steel mills or anything like that. You see the trees. And this is like a beautiful place. The same on the Vistula River. You go up the river, and you basically away from all the traffic, all the cars, you don't hear anything, and you see this skyline of Warsaw, which is, of course, very beautiful. And you gotta stay, and it's like, wow. Just for that moment, So, I don't know. I was on the Rhine, and I was on the Cuyahoga. I was on the Vistula. There's a lot of beautiful lakes everywhere. I mean, it's hard to say, favorite, but just having experience of enjoying the environment, away from so you can take a little breath from everything. You just can forget about your work, everything else. And you can sit on the water in the boat by yourself. It's a moment of silence, and you cannot buy this for any money. That kind of moments. So, all right. Yeah, it's 4 o'clock. You got nothing else.
I see some children in the back.
Enjoy your dancing. It was really coming back yesterday from Poland actually, and see this performance was like, probably I would say it was better than I would see in live in Warsaw.
Dziękuję.